Dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be diving into another mission on the VulnHub, which is literally vulnerable. The link will be put in the video below so that you can download it and play it on your own. The first thing I'd like to point out is that if you follow walkthrough of other guides, you cannot get this mission done. Okay? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. So now, let's get started. We can head over to Kali Linux VM. First of all, we need to discover the IP address of the target machine. The utility I'd like to use is netdiscover. All right, as you can see over here, the IP address of the target machine could be recognized as 63. So what shall we do next? We need to perform port and safe scanning with a map. To save time of this video, I've already completed before. So now we can get out its result. Let's scroll up a bit. So as you can see over here, I took the options like scene scan, the version scan, default script scan, followed by the -p- to do the full range port scan. The last option for all is ON to output the result into this file. From the map scanning results, we can tell that the target machine has 1, 2, 3, 4 open ports in total. Let's take a look at them one by one. The first open port is 21. The service or protocol is FTP or File Transfer Protocol. And we can get its version information, including its exact version number. Also, with the option of SC or -SC or default script scanning option, we can know the target machine allows anonymous FTP login. We can check it out manually afterwards. The second open port is 22. The service is SSH, and also we can get the version information, including its version number. Though this version is a bit outdated, I don't think we can find any workable vulnerability or exploit. The next one is 80. The service is HTTP or Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And also we can get the version information. Injects, another very popular web application. The last one, you can see this is very high, the highest possible port in any machine. And the service is HTTP or Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And also we can get its version information, including version number Apache 2. So what shall we do next? We need to enumerate services. The question is where to start. As I mentioned in other videos, if you have already followed my channel, you know this very well. If you haven't, please do it now. If the target machine has file sharing service running, such as FTP, Samba, or NFS, we should enumerate those services first. In this case, we should enumerate FTP service first. So how to enumerate FTP? And the first thing I can do is to check whether this version is vulnerable or not, such as exploit, followed by the keyword of the service name and version number. Though there is one exploit, but this falls into category of DOS or denial of service. This is not what we want at this point. Next, we can FTP to the target machine, and username is anonymous, no password, and we are in. And we can run command ls with options of ALH to list out directory content. And there is one file, backup passwords, of course, without any hesitation. We need to download this file to our Kali Linux. Okay, and we should see whether we can navigate across different locations like home. We got 550 error. And also we can check to see whether we can upload any file like a put test. And we got permission denied error. So now we can exit from FTP session. Now we can get out its backup passwords file. So here, though, blah, 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 I'm guessing you forgot your password. So I think it's very clear. This should be possible passwords. So we can copy and create it with Vim editor, passwords, or word lists. I've already done that before, so now we can quit. So next, what can we do next? We need to, I think we have already completed the FTP surface enumeration. Now we are going to enumerate web application, which involve two. Okay, now we can, maybe I can close and fire up the browser, clear the history, and make sure. Okay, so now we can access this target machine via browser. Press enter. It looks like that this site is not rendered completely. So how to solve? Very easy, very simple. We can put this domain name to the host file. We can copy and put over here. Oh, sorry, I need to make some notes. This port number, port 22, SSH, port 80, HTTP, but the service is injects port HTTP as well, Apache 2. So now we can copy this domain name and use command line to append. It's done. If we go back to the browser and refresh this page, so this time we can get the complete site back from the target machine. Okay, and this is WordPress CMS, one of the most popular CMS around the world. Okay, so next we can check to see whether this site has robots file. Nothing returned. Next, we can launch Nicto to perform automatic enumeration. I always use Nicto to make automatic enumeration with web application because it can enumerate the web application from various aspects, such as the version information, request header, allowed HTTP methods. Even, we can be given exploit information if the web application is vulnerable. Anyhow, we can't get very exciting information this time. To save time, I'd like to interrupt. Next, we can launch GoBuster to perform directory enumeration. Let me autocomplete this command. Press enter. However, we got this error, but this error can be sorted out very easily. So we just put the additional option of extend length. The value is 0. So now GoBuster can, make directory enumeration as usual. Of course, this time I take this list big. If you install the second lists, and you can get this big list. This is another very popular word list when we try to make directory enumeration. But we still can't get anything except maybe some kinds of, the WordPress directories or pages. I'm not going to wait. So next, we can launch WordPress again. URL. Option of -E. This will enumerate both usernames and plugins. And one user has been identified admin. So we can try to crack its password. But usually, we will take a log queue with the list. However, I'd like to tell you this word list can't work. So instead, we can use the created word list, which words comes from FTP, right? And word lists. But the result is the same. We can't, get the passwords with this word list. So up to now, we have already completed our enumeration with the first web application. Nothing very exciting. It's okay. Now we can turn our attention to the second web application. Let's bring back the browser again, and we can put the port number. This is default Apache 2 page. We can scroll down to make sure we will not miss anything important. As usual, we can check its source code by right-clicking the mouse, scroll down to the bottom. Nothing here or nothing different, from the default Apache 2 page. Next, we can launch Lateral to perform automatic enumeration. Similarly, Lateral cannot give us interesting or exciting results. And also we can, make another directory enumeration. But this time, very important, we need to use this big word list. Otherwise, we can't find what we are supposed to discover. Okay? We can later on to see what we can get this time. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I'm doing the same thing. We need to put the port number. It's done. It's almost done. And so this time we discovered this directory, PHP CMS. We can copy, put over here. We can access this directory. This is another WordPress site. And here we need to supply the password to access secure post. But for now, we do not have this kind of password yet. Don't worry. We can make enumeration. Okay, so we try to enumerate usernames. So here, the two users. which have been identified. We can copy and paste it in here. The second one, notadmin, very interesting name, very funny. So now we can create the word list, right? Yeah, I've already done that before. So now we can write and we just quit from this file, from Vim editor. So now we can try to brute force the password. Press enter. It's done. Valid combinations are found. So fantastic. We can copy. And paste over here. Maybe admin. Good. So then we can log into the administrators panel of WordPress. Maybe admin, and we can copy its password. Login. Don't save. So now the browser is trying to load the administrators panel. If the current user, maybe admin, is administrator, we are good to go. Then we can, for example, we can take a UUA to upload web shell to the target machine. And then we can get initial foothold, right? However, on the left, we didn't see the section of users. So this means the current user is actually not an administrator. But before we exit or log out from this panel, and we can see there is a post, secure post, and we can get another compilations of username and password. Paste over here. So then we can log out and log in again, not admin, with a different user. And we can copy, login. If you see this kind of message, you will be happy because this means the user is administrator. So what are we going to next? We have to upload the web shell to the target machine. Okay. So I think there will be different options or approaches. I'd like to try the most preferable way. Go to appearance section and then editor and locate 404 templates. We can remove original code, all of that, and then we can get out this web shell file. You can get this file from many sources, including Pentesting Monkey website. Of course, after you download it, you need to make some modifications. For example, IP address of the attacking machine to meet your own environment. We can copy, paste over here, and we can click the button, update this file or this template. Unfortunately, we got this error, unable to communicate back with the site to check for fatal errors. So, in other words, this approach is not working. So how to do next? Maybe I can leave the current page, and I'd like to take the second preferable approach, which is Metasploit console. and I use option of -Q. This is the quiet mode. Okay, and then we can search admin, and we can use this module. You can use both index number or the relative path of this module, but I like this way. And we can leave the payload to this one. We do not need to change it. And then we can show options. Set localhost to our Linux. Set local port number to 555. Set remote host to our target. Set remote port number, very high port number, and set username to which one? Not admin. However, it's admin. Interesting. Over here, and set password. I think we can use single quotes to wrap this password for safety. Set target URI to PHP CMS. Now we can run it. Authentication is successful, so now it's uploading payload. If it can upload this payload successfully, and then we can access this payload or not. We just without doing anything else, we can get the Metasploit session. However, we got this error. Exploit aborted due to failure. Unexpected reply. Failed to upload the payload. So I think this means the second approach cannot work, cannot work as we expected. But before we exit from Metasploit, hold on. If you go back to the browser and go to the plugins section, you will see something interesting or different. As you know, why WordPress CMS is so powerful? Because it can support so many plugins. And not here, nothing here. Maybe we need to wait, or we need to run it again. And you need to refresh. If you see one plugin, which is a bolt, yeah, we got this one. Of course, I think this should be our uploaded plugin by Metasploit. Okay, but this one is still not working. We should see one plugin which is bold font. Okay, BOLD. Bold, black. Maybe I need to pause the recording. Okay, I'm back. As you can see over here, we found, I tried to run this module several times, and now I got some uploaded plugins. But this time I didn't see any plugin in bold format or font. It's okay. You just try. Okay. So now, usually plugin will be living in the plugins directory. So now we can copy this URL, and you can see there's two web shells. So now before we access either of them, we need to set up the handler manually. Use exploit multi handler, and we need to set a payload to which one? Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one. And set localhost to our Kali Linux. Set local port number to 555, and we can run it. So as you can see, the TCP handler has started up. So now we can click maybe this one, the bigger. This one can work. I guess we can click. As you can see, we got a Metasploit session finally. So beautiful. Then we can get the shell, and we can, spawn interactive shell by Python. Python 2 is not available. Python 3, import pty module. And now we can navigate to home directory to see what we can get. So note from admin. So remember to not delete any critical files as you did last time. We find this file. It's easy, and the owner is John, and the current user has execution permission. Let's check its type. It's easy. So this is 64-bit Linux executable, and now we can run it. itseasy. Easy because of SUID bit, when current user www data run this file or this binary, will temporarily get privilege of its owner John. So it's easy. So your path is this one. And why we get this one? This is the home. This is the path or absolute path of home directory of user DOM. However, current user is www-data. It seems this binary is executing this kind of command, pwd, right? So how about we manipulate this pwd environment variable, right? I want to change this. I want to create our own pwd. So how to do? We can echo and semicolon. Yeah, very important. I tried. This can work. Without this, we cannot work properly. Bash or shell to pwd. Okay. Permission denied. Let me go to temp directory. Oh, not echo, sorry. Define environment variable. We need to use command export. Sorry about that. My mistake. And semicolon pwd. It's done. Export. Why I get this error? Oh, very imbalancing. We should use it this way. It's done, and then we can go back to home directory of though. Then we can run it to see what will happen. But it's not working. What's the problem? Echo pwd sorry. I think, when I did the machine the first time, I can let it work. So pwd mv it's not working. Export pwd, or we can use this one. I don't know why it's not working. Export pwd bin shell, and now can go to home, go to why it's not working. It's easy. Sorry, I need to fix it out. All right, I'm back. As you can see over here, I should use bash rather than shell. Yeah, rather than this one. So this time, of course, this semicolon is required. So anyway, we have already make lateral movement. So now we can go to home directory and go to John. And then we can get out its user flag. So we can get a flag. Remember to always check permissions. But anyhow, I don't like this kind of shell to some extent, because we have really got access to to the target machine as user John. We can create SSH directory, because I'm going to upload public key to the target machine. How to do? We can use SSH key generation, and I want to save key pair in the current directory, no passphrase, and we can copy public key to authorized keys, and then we can set up web server on the Kali Linux, and then we can upload this public key to the target machine. Authorized keys, it's done. Then we can SSH to the target machine with private key. Okay, so now I think it's much better. And now what can we do next? We need to run sudo, but we do not have password yet. And however, we got this directory and share nano. Nothing here about temp files, and we find this password. However, although this password is encoded, decoding is very simple. We can copy base 64, and then this should be password for the John. Then we can run sudo again, because this time we can supply its password. So we can make a privilege escalation by this file. And we can check its permission. Even right now, there is no file. So we can create this file, right? For example, we can put bash command to this file. Very easy. We can echo bin bash. And we can save it to this file. However, we got an error, permission denied. I think this is caused by permission settings with the directory of HTML. So which user has access to this directory? I mean the creator file. We can go back, revert back to the www data, right? Exit, and then we can go to HTML directory, echo bin bash test HTML, and we need to make it executable test HTML. Now if we go back to this tab and run sudo and followed by this file, you see we have already become root user. So beautiful. Then we can grab the root flag without any difficulty. So I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to see you next. Bye. Have a nice day, please.